Hi guys, welcome to my vlog. First of all, congratulations to all those who have just received their PR. Now, some of you have already moved to Canada and some of you are planning to move to Canada. Now, once you're in Canada, I know there's one thing coming into your mind is, how do I get a job? So, keep watching this video and in the end, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. There are two kinds of jobs in Canada. Number one are the regulated jobs and number two are the non-regulated jobs. Now, let's talk about the regulated jobs. These jobs are governed under certain laws by the federal and the provincial governments. So what does that mean? That means you require a certain kind of licensing to work in these particular fields. Now, what fields am I talking about? I'm talking about professions like doctors, architects, engineers, nurses. All these fields require a license for you to practice. Now, when a person comes from a different country, they come with certain kind of qualifications. To enter into these regulated jobs, you need to get your qualifications assessed by various credential companies, like I would like to mention one is the WES. So, once you get your credentials verified, they give you a certain kind of standing that this is the equivalency for Canadian experience. Once you get your Canadian equivalency, you have an idea of what is the amount of studies you have to put in so that you can reach the Canadian standards. Now, these jobs are different from the other jobs. When I'm talking about other jobs, now let's talk about the non-regulated jobs. Now, these jobs are jobs that are in the field of sales, are in the field of customer service, these kind of jobs. Now, these jobs do not require any kind of equivalency and you can apply for these jobs straight away as you come to Canada. In Canada, no job is a small job. Whether you fall into the regulated profession or you fall into the non-regulated profession, you have to start your career with these initial jobs. Now, these initial jobs pay you well. They pay you $14 an hour, which is good enough for your initial settlement and to pay your bills. Now we have figured out what kind of categories are there for the jobs and what jobs we need to apply. Now the question arises, how to apply for these jobs? Now the first method is using online services. Various companies post their jobs on online websites such as Indeed, Workopolis, and Monster.com. So you can go on these websites and apply for jobs for these various companies. Now, since we're talking about online services, I would like to mention a service called LinkedIn. You can create a profile on LinkedIn and get in contact with various hiring managers of different companies. You may end up getting a job. Now, the second point is agencies. Now, there are various agencies such as Hayes and Randstad, you can find a description below, that specify in particular jobs. These jobs are mostly labor-oriented and security jobs. So if you get in touch with these agencies, they can get you a job. Now the third point is job fairs. When you come to Canada, you should make sure you attend a lot of job fairs. These job fairs mostly happen between the months of March and September. So when you get in touch with these job fairs and you go and attend these job fairs, you get your resume across various companies. These companies then contact you when they have an opening. Now, the fourth and the most effective way to get a job is through reference. Let's say you have a friend and he works for a particular company. Now, that company is looking to hire somebody and your friend refers you to that company, you are sure to get that job. So, it is very important for you when you come to Canada, you should make some connections. So guys, we have talked about different kinds of jobs and how to apply these jobs in Canada. Now we are going to talk about a very important thing, and that is your resume. In Canada, resumes are very specific. They talk about your skills, they talk about your experience, and then they talk about your qualification. Now, resumes here in Canada have a particular format, and that is mentioned in the link below. For example, let me give you an example. If a company highlights that they want somebody who specializes in customer service, then whenever you make your resume, you have to mention that your skills is customer service and that you specialize in it and that you have worked in that particular field and your qualification relating to that field. This is how do you make a Canadian resume. A Canadian resume is basically 1 to 2 pages. It is not lengthy at all. And it does not highlight anything other than your skills, your work experience, and your qualification. There's also another part that goes with your resume, and that is your cover letter. A cover letter is very, very important. A cover letter gives you a small insight piece about yourself and about your resume. So a cover letter will briefly highlight your qualification and your work experience and your skills. So when you apply for a job, make sure you make your resume according to that job, because for every job, your resume is going to be different. So guys, after submitting your resume, you may get an interview call and you have to go for that interview. Now remember, before going for that interview, make sure you read some history about the company that you're going towards for the interview. Now, when you go for the interview, remember one thing, always be on time. Number 2, make sure that you learn your resume by heart, because they are going to ask you questions based on your resume. Now, these interviews are going to be situational interviews where they're going to ask you about your strengths, about your weaknesses, and they're going to give you a particular situation and ask your response on that situation. For example, let's say you're going for a sales job, they might pick up a pen and ask you, sell this pen to me. So you should be prepared for such questions. In the end, I would only like to be, giving you some confidence that, it is not easy to crack an interview, but if you go with the right attitude, you be confident, and you answer these questions with a smile, you can be successful. Guys, now for the bonus tip. Whenever you land in Canada, look for a newcomer center near you. Now, a newcomer center is specifically there for you to help you settle down in Canada. These are partially government funded and have trained personnel. They not only help you build your resume, they also help you bridge the communication gap, your language barrier. They also help you get a job. These personnel are in touch with the HR professionals of various companies, so they can forward your resume and refer you to get a job. So guys, I hope all these tips of mine help you get a job in Canada. Best of luck for your search and see you in my next video. Cheers.